Welcome in, Jake West, Director of Team FY and Sports, joined by Chris Mathis, WJRB, WJUL. This is the North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Pressbox, presented by Team FY and Sports. Chris, before we really jump into what happened last week, let's start with the game that you were at, the game you were on the call for. Probably one of the best high school football games in our area, maybe ever.
Yeah, I would agree. By far, arguably number one or number two best game in Union County Panther football program history in 50 years. As it was a great game there, senior night at Mike Caldwell Memorial Stadium. As Gilmer County came into town, both teams having a little bit of a letdown. Of course, Gilmer's building, Union County trying to build two with the first-year head coach on both sides of the spectrum. And what a game. It was 14-7 at one point. Union County led pretty early in the game. And then all of a sudden, Gilmer County tacks on 28 unanswered points. It's halftime. It's 21-all at halftime. Gilmer comes out. They get the ball first on the first drive after halftime. They score a 74-yard touchdown. It was either the 74-yard touchdown or the 86-yard touchdown on the first play of the third quarter. They had two huge plays. So either way, you're looking at a big blow-up on defense. They ran the ball well against Union County. And then that was kind of an onslaught for that entire third quarter. And I'm thinking, in the box, I still approach every game the same. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? Don't lay down as a player. Don't lay down. Keep playing hard. You just never know what can happen. And then all of a sudden, Union County starts to get a couple of breaks here and there. They force an interception. Senior Caleb John had by far his best game. I know he struggled this year defensively, wrapping up on tackles one-on-one. And he had 3 third-down tackles in Friday night's game. And then to cap it off, had an interception, which helped to kickstart a Panther comeback. They were down by 21 points. And it was 42-21 with 9:55 left in the ball game. Some way, somehow, Union County slowly chops at that lead, that deficit. And then before you know it, it's like, I want to say 3:33 left in the football game. It's a 14-point game. I'm looking up the scoreboard, and I'm like, man, we have 2 timeouts. Union still had not burned a single timeout in the fourth quarter, even with 9:55 left. They really chewed up the clock just right, and they really took advantage of their play calling, the up-tempo offense. Kyler Robbins, a heck of a punter, pinned the Gilmer Bobcat, offense back in their own 20-yard line. And before you know it, Gilmer just was unable to run the ball against Union. The Panthers started to stack the box. They made key tackles instead of the arm tackles that I've seen week in and week out, and I've called them out on. They finally got low on these running backs, and when it mattered most, the Panther defense stepped up, made some big-time plays, and then Logan Helcher just put the game in his hands and carried the Panther offense. And that's no shot to everybody else. That's just a senior quarterback recognizing this is his final home game. He's got potential to lead this Panther offense to come back. And he does. He scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes. Has with 3:33 left, somewhere around that timestamp, Union scores a touchdown, punt the ball or kick off the ball from Kyler Robbins. Gilmer County fumbles the football. Panthers get the ball back. I believe they're at the Gilmer 35, 36-yard line with 1:18 left. Union County scores again to tie things up in regulation. And then I'm thinking, all right, we're going into overtime, 42-42. So the Panthers score 28 unanswered points. So they give up 28 unanswered. Then something clicks. They score 28 unanswered. Go to overtime. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure of the Georgia high school overtime rules. I've never been on a call for an overtime football game. It was apparent Friday night. I'm sitting there like, hey, what do we do? Is this like a 12-minute quarter or what? And I've heard that some schools, I don't know how they do it in North Carolina, Jake, and I'll be up front with it. How do they handle it there in North Carolina? Do you know?
It's like college rules.
Okay.
Where you start at the 25.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, see? And so Gilmer, okay, they got the ball first. I'm still kind of like, all right, is it, field goal and you still have a shot, or is it touchdown? You go home if you're Union County, because Gilmer got the ball first. And they placed the ball at the 15-yard line. I'm thinking, man, the defense just started to pick it up late in the game. But overall, they were not, playing well against the Gilmer Bobcat offense. The running back had 3 touchdowns, the backup. And I'm thinking, all right, this is where, the true Warriors step up. The guys that don't want to play basketball just yet step up. And Gilmer scored a touchdown, I believe, 3-4 minutes, not even into that overtime period. And then they go for 2 which I know Paul Standard, a legendary football coach, and at the time it was a bit of a head scratcher. But, I mean, looking back at the film, Eli Pugh, the defensive back for Union County, almost blocked 5 extra points, like legitimately laid out on 5 extra points, just barely missed the extra point try. So, in Gilmer County's point of view, to their defense, they're thinking, hey, they might block it anyways. Why not try for this and hope that we get it? And they're betting against Union County not scoring a touchdown, number one, and number two, not hitting the 2-point try. So they go for 2. Gilmer County stopped. They got beat by a pride of Panthers. I believe 4 or 5 defensive front players come in. They swarm in on the ball, bring them down. Just shy. I'm talking maybe 6 inches away from the point.
Let's talk about that decision for a minute, Chris. I think it also plays into the fact Gilmer County came into that game with 2 or 3 wins on the year. What did they have to lose? You go into overtime, pretty much. I think Coach Standard, I'm sure he asked his team, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to try to win this thing right here, or do you want to kick the extra point and just keep it rolling? And I'm sure, the mentality of it. I like the aggressiveness to do it. Obviously, it didn't work out for them in this situation.
Yeah.
But still, you can't take anything away from Coach Standard and what he's building over there, as well as what Coach Perry's building at Union County. But nonetheless, I think with the world of analytics, and I know you talk about it on your own podcast.
Yeah.
About how everything's like, oh, you should always go for it on 4th down, or you should go for 2 in this situation. I don't think analytics played a lot into that decision. I think it was just, we're going to try to win this football game right now.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jake. To feed off of this, that's a good point to talk about that play call, because I don't think that Gilmer came into that game thinking that they were going to win this football game. Obviously, Union County was up 14-7 into the first quarter, and then Gilmer had everything go in their favor. You're climbing in the roller coaster, up, 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 up. Then some way, somehow, Union starts to flatten things off with 3 straight touchdowns of their own. Now Gilmer's like, all right, we get that it was a close first half. We've taken the lead, but can we continue with that same offensive, play calling and aggression? And I think Coach Standard realized that the Panther defense had started to adjust on that rushing attack. Here looking at stats, Kiker, 4 rush touchdowns, 261 yards for the Gilmer Bobcats. And then the next guy, Stonecipher, who's the lead back, he had 107 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, and then to go for it, I agree. I think it's go big or go home, nothing to lose. It's not like it was a region title game. It wasn't even a region game. It was non-region to close out the regular season. And I'm not sure. I don't want to assume, but I don't think that Gilmer's in the playoffs.
No, they're not.
Okay. Yeah, they're a 3-win team, and Union County was in, but that's just with the lack of experience elsewhere in the region. So I think that was a huge game for Union County. I think Union came into that game thinking we had to win this game because they needed it for playoff hopes and whatnot, just to build some confidence, as they had lost 2 straight to Elbert and then Raven County. But the play call, I don't disagree with. And to be fair, if they hit that 2-point try and Union County scores a touchdown or gets stopped and doesn't hit their 2-point try, we're not talking about that play call at all being any negative light. It's all praise, great call, so I have no issue with Coach Standard's play call. I think it was the right call, especially with him knowing the average football fan at the game didn't recognize that Eli Pugh almost blocked 5 consecutive extra point tries. Yeah. So they weighed that in, and like you said, they definitely talked to their guys, what do we do here if we score first?
Yeah. What on Union County's first or their only overtime drive? What was their game plan? What played out there?
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest with you. It was Logan Helcher. He dropped back. Eli Pugh stepped up at receiver. We talked about it last week. He's kind of the Swiss Army knife. And I know we also used that term to describe Fannin County's Seth Reese, who's a little bit on a different level. But Swiss Army knife of Union County Panther football is Eli Pugh. He had to step up at inside wide receiver, and I think he had 100. Let me double check here. He had 40 receiving yards on 5 catches, but big receiving yards, big time moments, 3rd down conversions. And they're in the 4th quarter or overtime. I think the first play of the game went to Eli. He picked up 8 or 9 yards, and then that player, the next player, the play following that big play from Eli Pugh, Logan Helcher just tuck and ran it. And he was faced with death in reality. I mean, there was 4 Bobcats right there, and it was just a matter of him wanting it. And I spoke with him after the game, and he said that at the end of the day, all he wanted to do in that game, his final home game of his high school football career, was to pay back to everybody that supported him throughout the ups and downs of his career, from rec ball all the way up. And he said that was kind of his mindset going into overtime. I want to show everybody that they've supported me, and I'm here for them. I want to make a play. So he ran it in from 6 yards out to tie the game up at 48. And we talked about it. Kickers are underappreciated. And then once they miss a kick, they get a lot of hate and scrutiny. Not here on, the Friday night press box with Team FYN Sports. We're not about that, but just in general, the outside fan looking in is going to hate on the kicker. So Kyler Robbins, the senior kicker, didn't try a single field goal in that game on senior night. And I'll be real, in my broadcast on Friday night, I kept saying Kyler's ready to kick a field goal. Union went for it on 4th down 5 times, converted 3 times. 2 of them were touchdowns. So Union County had to squeak out some plays, and there were several times where I look on the sideline, search for 82 Kyler Robbins, and he pops off his hoodie. He's ready to go in to kick a field goal 33 yards, and Michael Perry says, hey, wait up, we're going to go for it. So Kyler had been waiting for his moment all night long. And, yeah, on one side it's just an extra point. On the other side, this is the game. I mean, this is it. If you miss, if you win, you go home a winner, a champion. For that football game. And Kyler comes out, biggest of stages for a first-year varsity kicker, and he knocks in the game-winning PAT 49-48. And it was just I know the playoff win 2 years ago was awesome for Union, but in terms of my situation where I was calling the game, this and that game on Friday night against Gilmer, I know that the stipulations coming in weren't nearly as high as a playoff game, but that Gilmer-Union game on Friday night was by far the best game I've ever been a part of. And I've been on a call for almost 480 games, and nothing has ever, any level, college, basketball, anything has never compared to that game. Take away the partialness of it being Union County. I don't care what team that was. That was the best game I've ever been on, with a mic and a headset. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the will to want to win a football game, how bad they wanted it. And we talked about it last week, Jake. We said, who's ready for high school basketball and who's ready to keep playing some high school football, and realize that after this season's over in football, basketball is going to still be there. Don't think ahead, enjoy the present moment. And that's what the Panthers did on Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this, Chris. You were on the call and you guys live streamed. Is there a way to go back and watch that game? Is it archived somewhere?
Yeah, it is. So if you go to YouTube and search Ridgeline TV, or let me double check right quick. Bear with me, but there is a way to do it. And I go back and I watch it myself. It's real convenient. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't tell by how long we've spent talking about this, I mean, it's definitely a game that if you haven't seen it, you're going to want to go back and watch it.
Ridgeline TV is the channel that you'll search up. And the game is titled GHSA Football 2021 Gilmer County Bobcats versus Union County Panthers. And I don't care if you're a Panther fan, a Bobcat fan, if you hate both teams, if you love one team, hate the other, even if you don't like sports or football, if you appreciate the grind and determination that a high schooler has, because at the end of the day, these guys are 16, 17 years old, and to have that mentality to come back, is impressive by all means.
Yeah.
So you got to go watch that. At least scrub through. And if you guys say, hey, I don't want to watch that entire game, I get it. Go to 9:55 left in the fourth quarter, and that's where everything changes.
Yeah.
And let me add this, Jake. The Panthers had 2 timeouts with 9:55 left. They didn't burn a single timeout in the fourth quarter, not one. And they can't. It was surreal. It was awesome.
That's crazy.
Great adjustments there by your guy Thomas Nelson, Panther defensive coordinator too.
Do what?
Thomas Nelson, Panther defensive coordinator, former Murphy guy. Huge adjustments there after halftime.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think him and Perry are gonna be a force to be reckoned with here.
I think so too, and I think that you and I and people that truly follow football at every level, I think we recognize that it takes time. You can't just give one coach 1 year. I think by year 3 you have a general. I give him 3 years. After year 3,
Yeah.
And with the talent pool, because Michael Perry knew what he signed up for when he went to Union. Thomas Nelson did too. They knew they had to build up from the rec department, all the way down to the rec department, all the way up. Just like, for example, Fannin County, and look at Fannin County, just a little bit of extra effort outside of Friday night football games, and you can be a perennial playoff team, a perennial region title winner in Fannin County. I know I'm plugging them, but they deserve it. Chad Cheatham and them, they do that. They've done that since day one of him joining the program, I think 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Let's stick with Union right here really quick though, and let's preview their first round playoff game. A tall task ahead for the Panthers, and they're coming off a really emotional win that we just recapped right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And I'll put it into perspective. Last year, Fannin County Rebel girls basketball, I hate to go off topic with football and basketball, but Fannin County Rebel girls basketball, they had a huge playoff game where they hit a buzzer beater right before the buzzer sounded off. I mean, it was just unreal 3-point shot, if I recall. And they won the game. They were sky high going into their next round. They played in Macon or wherever the big time playoff game is held. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's Final Four.
The Final Four. What? Yeah. After the buzzer beater, they would play the Final Four.
Yeah,
game.
right. So they went to that Final Four game sky high, and it was almost as if they had just won their championship. And that's no shot to them, but it was almost as if they felt their high of the year. They felt like they just won their biggest game. They had their moment to shine, and that just comes with a high school athlete of any caliber. Because I think Fannin County girls basketball, they had a shot to win, but once they went down by 4 or 5, they just kind of lost that mentality to go get after it. So based off of that, Union County can't allow any score to bother them. And I know that they're coming into this game as an underdog. Fortunately, Lovett, a very good football program. They're 7-3, 6-2 in 6AA. And this is a game in which Lovett may overlook Union to the extent where if Union plays absolutely perfect football from the very opening kickoff, not even the first play, from opening kickoff all the way to the final whistle, if they play perfect football, no self-inflicted penalties, no self-inflicted turnovers, they can keep it close. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they win. There's always a possibility. However, if you start to lose the turnover battle in a game like this against a very good Lovett Lion football team, if you lose the turnover battle by 1, there's a shot you get beat pretty badly. Lovett has an insane defense. I think they've given up less than 100 points this entire year. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and I want to say they've gave up a total of 21 combined points over the last 4 games. They've only allowed 14 or more points in 2 games throughout this whole year. One game they gave up 14 right on the dot, and then the other game they lost to South Atlanta 34-33. South Atlanta, a good football team too. So that's it. They're a great defensive football team. They don't score a lot of points. I'm not sure, what the competition is like, regarding the defenses that they face. They don't score a lot of points. If Union County's O-line can give Helcher 2 seconds in the pocket, they have a shot to lose the game on their own end, not just go in and be down 21-0 early.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Lovett is a very good football team, and the fact that this game is on the road, and Union County's coming off that loss, but also no one gave Union County a chance in the playoffs last year, and look what they did. I mean, they almost made the they almost shocked some people there in the first round. Yeah.
They almost squeaked one out. I think it was 31-30. They lost to Heard County, or 31-29 last year on the road. So
exactly. Who knows? You never know. Let's take a quick break, Chris. We'll come back. We'll stick with 2A. We'll talk about Fannin County's scare last week they had against Dade County, and then we'll preview their playoff game. Then we'll take another break, and we'll come back and we'll talk just a little bit about Towns County, and we'll wrap it up. So stay with us, and we'll be back after this break.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the endless aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey girl, back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey girl, look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey girl, you not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back. Jake West, Director, Team FYN Sports, joined by Chris Mathis from WJRB, WJUL. Chris, thanks for your insight on the Union County Gilmer game.
Hey, Jake, can I take a quick time out right quick? I want to plug a little bit of stats.
Yeah.
I forgot. Completely forgot. Senior quarterback Logan Helcher had his best game of his career, 26 of 35, 301 pass yards, 3 pass touchdowns, 98 rushing yards, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. 7 touchdowns. He had his hands in on every touchdown that was scored in that win in overtime against Gilmer. Keaton Shitwood stepped up, 8 catches, 133 yards, and 2 tutties. Caleb Rogers, who you plugged last week right here on the show, and you said that they're going to rely on him heavily over the next couple of years. He heard the podcast. He clearly did. 168 rush yards on, I think, 20 carries, something like that. Dominated. So a shout out to those guys for stepping up big. But yeah, Jake, always glad to be here on the Friday Night Press Box and on Team FYN Sports to talk some ball. And I know you want to continue with AA football.
Yeah, but just once again, want to encourage you to go back and go to, what was the YouTube channel to watch that game again?
Ridgeline TV. Ridgeline, RIDGELINE TV. Ridgeline TV.
Yeah, go back and watch that game. Mathis does a great job commentating. You're not going to miss any of the action. They've got some good stuff going on over
Thanks,
there.
Man. Hey, that's my
Ridgeline
favorite
TV.
out of everything to do in a week. Friday night, calling a game of any sort, my number one, man. I'll do that. Nothing beats that.
Well, let's shift gears here. Let's talk about the Fannin County Rebels. It was a tight one. There was a lot of people sweating it out over in Blue Ridge on Friday night when they played host to Dade County. The Wolverines threw everything but the kitchen sink at them. Yeah,
that's a great analogy there. And I was sweating it out in Blairsville. I was getting updates, and I'm calling the game for the Panthers, and it said 14-7 at halftime. And I said, it's halftime, but Chad Cheatham, among the best at second half adjustments. I don't know of any big game that was close that they've had where Cheatham did not go into halftime and just make the most unreal, of course, for this coaching staff, adjustments, and then they come back and win the football. I don't know how they do it there in Blue Ridge. I really don't. Whatever they're on, I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know if they're eating their Wheaties, at halftime, whatever it is. Cheatham, you need to hook me up because you guys do a phenomenal job. It was 14-7 at halftime. Something clicked there. And then Fannin County prevailed 21-17.
Yeah.
And you said last week on the show that that you feel like they've had to face adversity every week. Hey, now it's the region title game. Now this is the big game, this and that. I don't know if that got to them or if Dade County just really came out and had Fannon's number early.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way it's good for Fannin County to have to do this because we think about last year, Chris. They had Luke Holloway. They had their best team in I don't know how long. They go to the playoffs, win their first game.
Honestly, probably ever.
Yeah, probably ever. You're right. They go to the playoffs, win the first game. Second round, they get down, and they're in a position that they haven't been in all year. They're having to play from behind. They don't really know what it's like. So I think with this Fannin County team now, it's different because not only did they lose to Sonoraville early on in the year, which was good. I mean, you hate to say a loss is good, but that was a good loss. They figured.
I'm with you, 100%. I'm with you.
They figured some things out that game, and now they figured out how to come from behind and win against a Dade County team that had all their guys back. They were as healthy as they have been all year, and hate to say it again, but they threw everything at them. Great job by that coaching staff also to be able to compete in this game, a game that not a lot of people gave Dade County a chance in coming into it, and Dade County had the lead at halftime, like you said. But I think you're right. It boils down to Chad Cheatham and his coaching staff making adjustments, and it also doesn't hurt when you've got Seth Reese back there making plays for you. I think he came back, pretty much willed that team to victory. But as a whole, this was a good game for them, a good learning experience, because heading into the playoffs, now they're going to know what it's like. They can get down early, and they can be like, oh, well, we've been here before. We know what we need to do to get out of this hole.
Yeah, and they definitely need to fill that out against Bremen this Friday night here in this state playoff game. Bremen, they're 5-5, but they're in a very tough region. I mean, yes. I spoke with Cheatham about it, and he said 5-5 is an understatement by all means. You're talking Callaway, you're talking Harrelson, Bremen, Hurd, throw Temple in there too, hands down. He thinks it's the best region in 2A football in the state of Georgia. And he said, you're going to have somebody that's 5-5. Every team's got to find a way to win here and there, and they're going to find a way to win in a very talented region like that. Number 5 is a guy to watch out for with Bremen. He said, you got to find him. Simple as that. So that's probably their game plan. But talking on the Dade County game, Chad Cheatham gave a lot of credit to Dade County when I spoke with him earlier this week. He said, Dade's pretty good. They had him, early. They had him hitting the mouth pretty early and took us into the locker room down 14-7. They did a great job. So I respect that from Cheatham and giving props where it's due. And I think that's the first thing he told you guys too, post-game. Talked with Ted Town.
Yeah. Hats off to Dade County. They finished 7-3 and played their best game of the year probably. They're peaking at the right time. They may be able to squeak by and make a deep run into the AA playoffs as well. But before we move on to Bremen, I know we touched on it a little bit. I just want to give a shout out to some of these individual performances. Seth Reese, he threw the ball a lot more than he has had to. He was 9 for 15, only 107 yards, but he's completing the ball at about 65%, somewhere in there. But on the ground is where he really can hurt you. Not to say he's not a great passer. I mean, he made last year in the playoffs the trick play that they had in that second round game where he threw it 80 yards to Cohutta High just on a dime. That's probably one of the best throws in high school football I've ever seen. But on the ground is where he can really hurt you. 21 carries for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he also had a reception for 30 yards. So, I mean, Chad Cheatham is he's like Megamind over there. You never know what he's going to do. He's going to change things around. Like, I don't even know what the point is in watching film on them because they have different guys in different spots at every point in the ball game. But defensively for the Rebels, Andrew Waldrop played very good. Seth Reese played a lot more defense than he has in the past. He had 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Waldrop had 13 tackles, led the team. Also, Cason Owensby had 13 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. And Ricardo Alianis, he had a sack, a big sack, and so did Logan Long. And I think there were 2 other sacks in that game.
Yeah, that's great.
And one kid that I've been wanting to mention on this podcast, but he hasn't really. I mean, his stats haven't shown up this year like I thought they would. But number 8, Corbin Davenport. I think for them heading into the playoffs, he had a pick last week, but heading into the playoffs, I think he's going to be a guy that gets utilized a lot more for the Fannin County Rebels offensively, because I think they're going to have to air it out a lot more. Maybe not in this first week, but definitely heading into the second week when they try to get their revenge against Fitzgerald if they're able to get by Bremen this week. But I think Corbin Davenport, maybe even this week against Bremen, I just keep waiting on him to have his breakout game, and stats aren't really up for this Bremen team.
I do know that they can fling it.
Yeah.
So there's opportunity. There's opportunity this week.
Yeah.
They do a lot of out routes too. I saw some film. So I went to Fannin High School on Monday, and I'm not going to say I snuck into the film room when they were watching film, but I snuck into the film room while they were watching film, and they were cool with me watching and whatnot. But what I saw from Bremen, a lot of out routes, which is a play call that you would never see me make in today's game as a head coach. I would never throw an out route. I would never have my quarterback run that and throw that pass. That is picked off 8 times out of 10. If Fannin knows when to bite and not when to bite on these out routes this week, I think this is a big time chance for these guys to rack up some interceptions.
Yeah, I agree. And to your point earlier, you mentioned Bremen at 5-5, but I mean, they've got a close loss, 32-28 to Bowden early in the year. They've got a 7-point loss to Darlington, a good Darlington team. Obviously, they lost to Callaway, who's usually on a different level. They got a 2-point win against Temple, and they lost by 2 the next week to Heard County. And then last week's game, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but Bremen was leading Haralson County, who's 9-1, and I think Haralson County's top 5 in the state according to Matt. They were leading.
DJ knows a lot about Haralson.
Yeah. Keep up with our Twitter. We'll have updates from the Haralson game this week also. But Bremen was winning that game 10-7 heading in to the second half. The second half, I mean, Haralson County was just too much for them. But Bremen definitely a team that can scare you. And it's not – I mean, I know you cover North Carolina football too, Chris, and last week was first round of playoffs over in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
The first round in Georgia and the first round in North Carolina,
they're different, you know?
Yeah, it's not the same.
If you look at 9 times out of 10, at least, granted, I've only covered high school football in North Carolina for 3 years now, but the top seed in that game is more than likely, until it gets within 5 of each other, you know, it's going to be a blowout, you know?
Yeah.
And that's no discredit to the team that blows out the other team. That's just how it is in terms of talent on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, last week we saw in North Carolina a 77-0 first round game. We're not going to see that over in Georgia.
No. Especially with a 5-5 Bremen team that in any other region, you know, they're probably 8-2.
Yeah. I agree. So, you got a chance to talk with Cheatham, and you mentioned a few things he said. Anything else that he said? You also mentioned that you got a chance to talk to one of the Fannin County Rebels.
Yeah, I did.
Athletes.
Yeah, I spoke with Cason Owensby, who had a huge game, 13 tackles, and I asked him, I said, man, you guys are down 14-7 at halftime. You haven't really had to face too much adversity this year in terms of being down at halftime. I said, how do you as a player kind of approach that, you know, in terms of mindset and whatnot? And I said, Coach Cheatham told me that he didn't feel like you guys were nervous or worried at all. He just felt like it was routine. Let's make adjustments. We're good to go. He said, yeah. He's like, Chris, we've been, you know, in that situation before. It's not like we've not, you know, faced that adversity at any point in our lives. He said, it was 14-7. That's a 1-touchdown game. He said, that's nothing. We didn't give up. We came out, we came back and won the football game. And he said, that's just smash mouth football. That's what we played every week. He said, it's just smash mouth football. That's all. That's what he said. He promoted that. So, I mean, if you're playing against Fannin, be ready to get rocked, because this guy, Cason Owensby, said it 5 times in 3 questions. Smash mouth football, baby. And he's coming for you.
Yeah, that speaks to the culture that Chad Cheatham has brought over there. I mean, they want to play hard-nosed, hit you in the mouth football, and it's just it's great what's going on over there in Fannin County. You got a prediction for us this week?
I'm going to go Fannin County wins. Let me see. Do you have yours yet? Do you have your prediction?
Yeah, I think Fannin County wins this game by 2 scores.
Okay.
Between 10 to 14 points. I'm leaning closer to 10 points with tacking on a field goal. Jack Cantner, really good field goal kicker from Fannin County. I just think Bremen hangs tough, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope Fannin County blows them out. I hope it's a lot further out of reach than just 2 scores.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Fannin County's going to win as well. I know the Fannin County Rebel defense has been lights out this year. We spoke about it last week.
Yeah.
I think that continues this week. However, we'll have to see how the Rebel offense will do against a solid Bremen team that comes in, as the underdog, playing in Blue Ridge, a very tough environment. Maybe a 24-17 type game. Fannin County wins it. And I don't think that Bremen ever leads. I'm not saying that they're down at halftime again like last week. I'm going to go 24-17 Rebels. They win.
Yeah, I think just from what Bremen showed last week, obviously they're a tough football team, but also we could see a Fannin County team pissed off about what happened last week and come out and really just light the world on fire. So that's why they play the game, Chris. Just like we talked about with Union County. Who knows? Union County may even come out and shock the world.
Hey, you know what? You never know.
Let's take a quick break, Chris, and then you can just give us a short recap of Towns County Indian season and what Coach Rockmore was able to do over there. And shout out those seniors because there was a whole lot of them on that football team. So stay with us. We'll be back.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the endless aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, girl. Back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey, girl. Look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here, because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Welcome back, Jake West, Chris Mathis here, North Georgia edition of the Friday Night Press Box presented by Team FYN Sports. Chris, just quickly recap the Towns County season. A historic season. I know it didn't end the way they wanted it to, but a great season for them nonetheless. I know you mentioned it last week. it was just kind of about getting guys out there, and that's definitely what they did. And they went from almost having a program that was absolved to having a program that won a lot of football games this year, and ended up with the opportunity to make the playoffs. Obviously, that didn't happen, but still can't take anything away from this team. And I just want you to mention those seniors and what they were able to do this year for Towns County.
Yeah, Jake. Towns County started off the year. They were looking good non-region. I think they went 4-1 to start off, 5-game stretch. And then they faced some region opponents. They started to see some injuries. And, of course, they're in a pretty tough 1A region. But injuries stacked up, and, of course, it comes with football. But the 2-3 guys that you needed to be 100% all year, if you could pay to have those guys 100% healthy all year, you would. They started to suffer some injuries. They were, of course, they got used a lot, so they took a majority of the hits on their offense. But the defense kind of struggled majority of the year. They had a good 4 or 5 game stretch early, but overall it came down to the defense not being able to make a lot of plays because they don't have too many players. They have 22, 23 guys that were playing and starting both sides of the ball, which is tough. So nothing but respect. And even those big-time playmakers on offense, they were key contributors and arguably the best player on the defensive side of the ball too, which is something you don't usually see your starting running back and receiver, the best players on offense, be the best players on defense too. You usually just see those guys fill in and do a good job. These guys were by far their best, and they suffered some, bumps and bruises along the way down the stretch, and they fell short last week against a very good 8-2 Washington Wilkes football team, 49-32. But those guys that played well, they stood out, and they had a great game. I don't have the official stats, but I do know that Kyle Oakes did his thing. Colin Crowder had a toe-tapping touchdown in the back of the end zone. Those are going to be 2 guys that will go down in history books of Towns County. The right kids now, when they get to middle school and eventually high school ball, they're going to be like, you know what, I want to be like Kyle Oakes. I want to be like Colin Crowder. And that's the truth. Those guys were game changers, and they helped to establish the basis for Jason Rockmore and staff to build something there in Towns County. For roster, looking here, they did have a big chunk of seniors. Zion Henderson, of course, Kyle Oakes, safety, running back, Brian Cook, a couple other guys by the name of Colin Crowder. Fortunately, your quarterback, Connor Chastain, just a sophomore this year, so he's coming back. Lane Lallement, going down the list here, Colton Garrett. I mean, they've got 4, 5, 6, 7 seniors here that really helped. Kemp Walker being one of them. Dade Joyner, defensive back, had a good year. He's a senior. They've got a senior-led team, and I think that, of course, they've got roughly 21 guys, but at least 9 or 10 seniors. And those 9 and 10 seniors weren't just contributors. They were, that team. So now it comes down to who's stepping up and fulfilling that role, not only that you should as a sophomore or junior, but stepping up to play like a senior next year in Jason Rockmore's 4th year.
Yeah, well, Chris, I want to just draw this analogy really quick before we end the show. I think this group of seniors kind of has done what the last year's Fannin County group of seniors did for that Fannin County football team. I think this Towns County group of seniors has changed the culture, made it fun to be an Indian again, made it to where you can win football games, made it to where people wanted to win football games, and definitely made it to where fans wanted to come out and watch football games.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that Fannin County, they realized last year they were winning games, but I don't think they knew what they were doing for the culture. Towns County the same. Again, they went 4-6 this year, but they proved to those younger guys, those middle school guys that were on the fence about playing football at the high school level, because Towns County, not traditionally a good football program, they're now sold. They want to go out. Hey, I want to be like Kyle Oakes, but I want to be better. How do I do that? Hit the weight room. How do I do that? Be optimistic, try to be available for your coach, go talk with your coach and Jason Rockmore. And they've got a solid staff over there at Towns County High School. Once they get the numbers back up to 25, 30-plus kids, they're going to be solid. And I think that that'll happen here over the next couple of years, starting back with rec football there at Towns County. I think that they missed out on rec football in Towns County for 2 or 3 years. I don't know if they have one right now. I think they're just going off the middle school guys.
Yeah, they are.
That's impressive.
I think that's something that's definitely going to change, though. I think the rec department's going to get back to fielding a football team. Because we say it all the time, that's where it starts.
Yeah, 100%. And Stuart Nichols, I'm plugging my friend Stuart Nichols. We called Towns County football years ago. First ever broadcast I ever was able to do was with my color guy, Stuart Nichols. He's now the head of he's the athletic director at Towns County Rec Department. And let me tell you, he loves football. I'm not surprised if they get a football team here rolling in the next couple of years, just because of Stuart and his hard work and what he'll do.
Yeah. Chris, I want to thank you for coming on. Chris, I know you've got your own podcast. If you want to plug it, just a professional.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Professional sports podcast. It's a great listen. You just had your third episode come out this week?
So technically the fifth one, but the third one where it was good. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, okay, that was good enough, you know? So yeah, check me out, the Chris Mathis podcast on Spotify, Anchor, or just search TCM_pod on Twitter and Instagram. And then you can go from there. Click in my descriptions for links, but really cool stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for the free plug there, Jake. It means a lot. And thanks for having me here on the Friday night show, the Friday night Pressbox, Team FYN Sports. Always enjoy it. And hopefully we got a couple more games to recap here over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, hopefully so. All right, Chris, thanks for joining us. This has been the the North Georgia Friday Night Pressbox presented by Team FYN Sports. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week, hopefully.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
It's an opportunity you can't miss. Days Chevrolet in Jasper is stepping up and paying top dollar for your trade-in. Any make, any model. Days wants it, and we're paying top dollar to get it. So, what'll you do with all that cash? Shop for your new Chevy at DaysChevroletJasper.com. New vehicles are arriving weekly, or shop from our great selection of pre-owned inventory. Don't delay. Come get cash for your vehicle today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
Hey, girl. Back so soon?
Yeah.
Third time this morning.
Feeling too familiar with the bathroom these days? It's not just you.
Hey, girl. Look who made it 15 minutes.
At Erlanger Urology, we make it easy to talk about overactive bladder and treatments that work.
Hey, girl. You not coming in?
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I'll be here because I'm stuck.
Learn more at itsnotjustyou.com. Erlanger Urology.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.